welcome everyone. Welcome to this session with Birgitta O'Driscoll. Absolutely delighted to have you today, Birgitta, to talking about yourself, but also a fantastic project you undertook while part of the PG DIP Innovation Through Design Thinking. So can you start by telling us a bit about yourself?
Okay, yeah, I'm Birgitta O'Driscoll and I work as an environmental educator with Antashka, the Environmental Education Unit, for the last 20 years. And I came across design thinking through our membership with IDEA, the Irish Development Education Association, because I've been involved with global citizenship education for the last 12 years in my role. So when I came across it, I was kind of straight away kind of struck by design thinking as a way of creating change and really enjoyed it, but found it a little bit kind of happy clappy, kind of, you know, men in woolly socks sitting on the office floor having meetings. And but I saw this potential in it. I kind of started using it in at work with students, secondary school students, and then I came across a fantastic organization in the Netherlands who had used the methodology to design workshops for primary school students, which was really nice. Which we delivered, we got trained on, and we delivered them. And seeing what comes out of, you know, people being creative and being open, really, you know, kind of struck me as, wow, this is something new I'd love to get into. So when I saw the PG DIP in UCC on innovation through design thinking, I kind of jumped on it. Because I said, you know, there has to be some academics behind this, and well, there definitely is. So it's great. I'm delighted I did it.
And they're not men with woolly socks sitting around offices
no.
either, which is
well, I haven't seen your socks, Tommy.
yeah, and I don't sit around an office either. So whatever about the woolly socks, yeah, fantastic. And come here, you know, and you've a fantastic, I suppose, CV, you know, and you outlined some of it there, Birgitta. What did you really look for from the program? What was that extra bit you wanted?
I wanted the academic research behind it, really, because I could see when I was doing it with people, adults as well, because I did it before I started the course. I designed a whole series of design thinking workshops to try and come up with new ideas and how would we do the Green Schools program in our organization. And you could just see people really engaging with it on a different level and coming with really creative ideas that, you know, they, like my organization is, people that have worked there are very creative anyway, but generally, you know, everyone has their own niche, and, you know, someone is really interested in planting trees and another person is really interested in these SDGs, and everyone comes with their own point of view, and, you know, so you'd have lots of different kind of, you know, projects running. And through this methodology, I could see people changing their outlook. Okay, yes, I really love planting trees, but if we do it this way, then it might work better than we're not physically planting trees, but it could work better. So it was that creative side that I could see really work, but I just didn't have a grasp on why it worked. And I wanted that from the course, really. And I got that in spades. You know, there's still so much more to learn. And also, you know, the change in yourself when you're doing the course, I thought was huge. Like, you really, what I really liked, grasped me about the design thinking first was this whole idea about that everyone has their bias, and, you know, that you have to be aware of that. And yeah, what I used to say, like, yeah, I am aware of that. I am aware of my own bias, but you're never really truly aware of it until you're really going deeply into that sphere and looking at it, and, you know, getting critical feedback, which you're very good at. You were all really good at. But no, that's so important. I really used that so much. All the written feedback that I got, I printed it out and I put it up on my wall just to be reminded when I was moving on, don't forget to look at that bit, or don't forget to look at that bit. And that really brought me into understanding my own bias more and being constantly aware of it through the design thinking process. So yeah, I definitely got that academic kind of foundation behind it.
Yeah, and that's very interesting because in a way it nearly provides a mirror through which you can see yourself. So when you're engaging groups, not alone can you see others, but you start to see yourself probably in new ways or in different ways, Birgitta, you know, that you may not have seen otherwise. And also really nice is how you focus in on that sort of reflection, introspection piece, you know. And I was intrigued by your project. So it was the second semester, your main project. Can you tell us a bit about it? It is and was a fantastic project.
Yeah, I found it difficult to actually, the first term, I was constantly thinking, oh, I could do a project on that. Oh, I could do a project, especially the data literacy, you know, that we did with you. My eyes were opened. That was all so new to me. And I said, oh yeah, we could do that with, you know, the data at work. And then over Christmas, I said, I don't really want to do it at work. And I was very unsure in what I wanted to do. And then I had I reached out to one of the past pupils in the course, and I had a really interesting conversation with one of them, who was kind of saying, like, what's your passion? You need to do, and you referred to that a lot as well in the first semester. And all of a sudden, my project just came out of my mind. What I'm really passionate about is educating children, you know, not necessarily only about environmental, but getting their creativity come out and really listening to them and giving them a voice. And that's where my passion is. And that's how my project just rolled, like, immediately, because it was my passion. And because I was involved at work to delivering design thinking workshops to students already and to teachers, I was able to gather lots and lots of data to inform my project. So I basically looked into how we can use design thinking methodology to support teachers in engaging students in their own learning journey. So to get students really involved in why they're learning, what they're learning. So I kind of based it on the new primary school curriculum that is coming on in 2024 that I had been looking at already. And all these skills that you use in design thinking, like creativity, using your curiosity, critical thinking skills, they are all problem solving skills. They are all key features of the new primary school curriculum. And talking to teachers, listening to them, doing formal interviews with them, they were to say, look, we don't know anything about it yet. This is going to be rolled out next year. How are we going to add this into our already overloaded curriculum? So I then, together with a design team, which one was my partner, one was my son, and I had two teachers on the design team that we worked really closely with, and I had a person who is head of the Frebel department in Maynooth University. And we kind of came up with the idea of using persona building for children to kind of engage them in their own learning journey. So we came up with the avatar learning journeys, where we ask students to build their future self persona, what they want to be in their future, and then through journey mapping and stakeholder conversations, and you know, to try and really dig down in what kind of things they need to learn. And you know, we were hoping that they'd create an avatar, possibly a 3D avatar. So one teacher who tried out the material had them making plasticine models of themselves, which they really enjoyed and were playing with it. And so, yeah, minimal viable project I've created. I'd love to develop it further. It was very well received. I did a lot of data collection beforehand to look at what were the points that were really difficult for teachers in the classroom, and that informed the prototype, basically.
Yeah. And I was fascinated as well, that sometimes children find it quite hard to talk about themselves, but when they're talking on behalf of a future self, they can nearly externalize, into the future. They find it a lot easier, but also when they're doing something, they're making something, and I think you really tackle a lot of those aspects, which was really, really nice. And of course, like you say, Birgitta, which I was delighted, was your use of data. And I know you got an award afterwards for your use of data, and it was exemplary, really. So. And I also hope that it doesn't end here. What sort of impact do you feel it could create if it went further, Birgitta?
Oh, I actually think that it could be really powerful if you can have this like let's start at primary schools. I know you told me I have to stop adding to the prototype at one stage, but I literally did tiny little mini design sprints at the end to try it out with the youngest 4 or 5-year-olds. How they could think of their future self, and it was actually amazing. In the design team, the first time we came up with this future self persona building, my partner actually was part of the design team. He said, like, they're all going to say they want to be air stewardesses and footballers, and they didn't. There were footballers there as well, but still with football, you still need to learn maths as well, because you need to be able to gauge distances and angles, and so that's okay too. So I think that if you could have something like this that runs from junior infants all the way to 6th class, that children will get this really huge grip on why they're learning what they're learning, and become really engaged in their own learning journey, and understand that they make decisions now when they're 10 and 11 years old that will impact their future, which I did too, actually. In my reflection presentation that I did with Gail, what really stood out for me when I started thinking about it, when I was in primary school and secondary school, I wasn't engaged in my own learning journey. I wanted to be engaged in it, but it wasn't facilitated. Teachers didn't really want to hear if I didn't really understand maths, and I asked the same question 3 times. Eventually, he'd just say, like, "Well, this is just the way it is," And it was only when I went to UCC as an adult student that I became engaged in my learning journey. And I think it could add so much to young people, because they want to be engaged in their own learning journeys.
Yeah, that's inspiring. And you're right. Part of that project you did was about connecting that sense of a future self to what you can do now to nearly start getting there, and maybe trying to recognize the importance of the different pieces. And I think that's a lovely contribution. I know you were really busy while you were doing this. Obviously you were working, Birgitta. There's others maybe watching this video that are wondering, can they make it work, or how much work? Any advice?
Well, actually, the advice that John gave me when I was doing my thesis, like, if you are passionate about learning, and if you feel passionate about something, like, you will always make it work. And yeah, it is a lot of extra work, and there were many weekends. And I put in the acknowledgement of my thesis, I put, like, especially my partner, thank you so much, because there were so many times that I muted the television in the middle of a football match or a series that we were watching, because I wanted to discuss this. Like, it is just so engaging. Like, if you get so engaged with something, and I felt the same with all the other students in the course, they were all really engaged. They loved what they were doing, and then you will make it work, and it's well worth it. Like, I can't commend you enough. Like, the teaching, lecturing team, like, just amazing.
Yeah, and the students learn as much from one another,
Yep.
and learn a lot about themselves from one another as well, which I think is fantastic. Birgitta, thank you so much for giving your time for this.
No problem at all. I've enjoyed it.